Hi everyone, my name is Chantel and welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing collaboration with Beck from Cutest Voodoo. Beck and I have been friends for I think just over a year now. I think we met somewhere in October last year. That's where I met a lot of people during Inktober. And we've done a few collaborations in the past, but today we are gonna do a horror prompt from a horror prompt sketchbook. Beck has already done a few prompts in the sketchbook, but we have landed on zombie frogs. So let's get started. So for this particular project, I decided to go with polymer clay. So here's my sketchbook, of course, and my polymer clay leftovers, super Sculpey, my tools, and some Sculpey Bacon Bond. So let's get started on this interesting Halloween project. If you have never heard of Cutest Voodoo on YouTube, she mainly does horror stuff, and her favorite medium is watercolors. She's done a few of these horror prompts before, and this is actually how I found out that these books existed. And I did a book haul on my second channel this week as well, and this is where I show that there's two of these horror prompt books. And as soon as Beck showed them, I had to get them, and I told her I got the second book as well, and then she was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna order that one as well then, because she does a lot of horror stuff and this is really her kind of thing. I was like, why don't we do a collab on Halloween this year? So here we are making zombie frogs. Well, frogs is a big word. There's ugly frogs, but when you think of a frog, it's mainly a nice looking green animal. And what I have in my head for a zombie frog is more like a toad kind of creature, but hey, you know, creative liberty. But please go and check out Beck's creation after this video. I will leave her details in the description box below and at the end of this video in the end card. So for this frog, I'm just gonna call it frog. It will be an abomination in the end. You will see. Well, you saw it in the thumbnail, but you haven't seen the colors yet. So I've started off with an egg shape and I'm going to cover that completely in Super Sculpey. I put a blob at the bottom to bulk out the front of his body a little bit, and then I am adding the head, and underneath the head I am adding the bottom lip. So this is really where you can see the face of the frog taking shape, also with the eye sockets pushed in as well. Then I decided I wanted him to have an open mouth. I was kind of considering giving him teeth, but I don't think frogs have teeth. But hey, I could have done it, because, you know, it's a zombie frog and he might have mutated into whatnot, a zombie. Yes, okay. Right, moving on. These are the eyeballs that he will eventually get. They will not look as bulbous as they are here. So before I do that, I'm going to bulk out the side of his body because he looks a little bit too skinny for my liking. I kept thinking that he looked like Gomez with that little kind of mole that he has going on now. That will disappear, I promise. Then I moved on to the eyeballs. Now I'm hollowing out his eye sockets here, and I will only use one eyeball in the end. So the eyeball that you see me putting on the side of his face, that will kind of dangle out of his eye socket. I always, well, not always, because I don't always make zombie frogs, but from the beginning that we decided to do this prompt and make zombie frogs or a zombie frog, I had this hanging eyeball and an empty eye socket in my head. Don't ask me why. I have absolutely nothing with zombies. I don't like zombie movies, but for some reason zombie frog kinda seemed interesting for me to create. the side of his lips are hanging down. The one on the hanging eyeball side you won't really see hanging down, but they are both like hanging down, like he's decaying and rotting on the inside. Maybe he lives in a dystopian world and he's been around for a long time, and I don't know, radioactivity keeps him alive as a zombie. I don't know how that works. I really don't. But hey, I had really had a lot of fun creating this critter, and to be honest, and I don't want to toot my own horn, but I think he turned out pretty dang awesome. Just working on the ridges on his back here, and I've just rolled out a snake of clay, well, snakes of clay, and blending them into his back. When you work with polymer clay, most of the thing that you will be doing is blending. That takes up most of the time. Once that's all blended out, I am going to cut 2 little snakes of clay, and well, they're about 1 centimeter in diameter, and making 2 little front legs. And this is what we have so far. So let's move on to the back legs. Okay, so the first back leg I created because my camera was not on. But let's attach the second one like so. And then of course also making the little foot. I actually thought that making a frog would be really hard, but I was surprised by how easy it actually was. And this is the frog with all its legs. Let's move on to one of my absolute favorite parts of creating anything, and that's the detail. So I push some holes into the frog's body with a ball stylus, and then putting some balls of clay in the holes just to give that extra bit of detail. Then for even more added detail and more after that, I just cover the entire skin into little dimples and holes. And this is what it looks like, also with like deeper holes, so it's like a decaying zombie frog. And then of course, for even more dimension, because you know, we can't get enough of details in dimension, I'm adding some little balls on top of the skin, and this is the frog all baked and out of the oven. The paints I will be using for this frog are acrylic paints by Green Stuff World and Model Color by Vallejo. Especially for this frog, I bought blood and orc blood as well, just because, you know, it's fun to have some special effect paints. I'm starting off with a very thin, well, not really thin coat, just one coat of the darkest green, and then filling in all the holes and gaps in his skin and his eyes with black. Moving on to the medium green, I am going to just dry brush this on the darker green just to give it a little bit more color variation. And then of course we need to have that flubber green, because that's what the color is called, flubber green, as the final accent color. But wait, I'm not done yet. The boils and warts on his skin, I'm going to paint them all white. And then for even more dimension in his skin, I am using this like ochre, yellow ochre kind of color to dry brushes on his skin and give him a few more patches of that yellow here and there. Now onto the special effect blood paint. This paint dries up semi-transparent and glossy, so it actually looks like real blood, and even when you rinse your brush in the water, it looks like blood in the water. It's bizarre. So his eyes and all his boils, I will cover them with the red, and inside his eyes with the darker red, and then inside his mouth I will put the green. So let's have a look what the final frog looks like. And here is the little zombie frog. I love how this little dude turned out. Please check out Beck's channel and her creation. Details are in the description box below or in the end card of this video. If you liked it, please give this video a thumbs up, it really helps my channel out. Make sure to check out my socials and consider supporting me on Patreon. And if you're new here, welcome! Please don't forget that you can click the subscribe button to become part of the Raven family. Thanks so much for watching, stay safe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Happy Halloween! Bye!